Make sure you subscribe on all platforms and leave that 5-star review. Let's get it. Talk about it.
You are now tuned in to Above the Rim. Hoops talk for the street.
Family, what's good? Welcome back to another edition of Above the Rim. Hoops talk for the streets. You already know how we do, family. Brought to you as always. It's your host, Justin, aka Just Blaze. Family, you know the drill. To get in contact with me, you can always hit me up and follow me on Twitter at JustBlaze_513, on IG at JustBlaze513, on Facebook and YouTube. Search Above the Rim Podcast. Also email the show as well, Above the Rim NBA Podcast at gmail.com. Tap in and leave the family a voicemail, 908-718-1592. Best way to support the show, as you already know, is to cop your merch. Make sure to leave your boy a review on iTunes, Spotify, if you rock with the show. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that thumbs up, subscribe, share, tell a friend to tell a friend. I appreciate it, of course. Solo playoff preview episode number 2 right here. I got to talk about another series that I'm very, very, very intrigued by. First of all, I want to give a shout out to these two teams for getting to the second round. You know what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the New York Knicks and the Miami Heat. This is about to be a matchup for the ages right now. A very old school type of matchup, and I'm here for it right now. It's going to be a rivalry renewed. This is the Put Some Respect on My Name series. Both of these two teams were projected to lose their first round matchup, but they both were not trying to hit any of that. Jimmy Butler versus Jalen Brunson. The Heat are the first play-in team to actually win a playoff series. Jimmy was sensational, averaging over 37 a game, hitting big shot after big shot. Scored 98 points in the last 2 games of the series to take out Giannis in 5. The Knicks won their first playoff series in a decade. Jalen Brunson was surgical in that series against the Cavs, hitting tough shot after tough shot after tough shot, playing great defense and being that common force and the leader that the Knicks needed. It's going to be a hell of a battle, man. This series has all the makings of a 7-game series, in my opinion. The words that come to my mind when describing this series: gritty, grind out, tactical, emotional, history, location. This Knicks versus Heat series is going to bring back the 90s feel that we all love to see. All of my people that love 90s basketball, this is going to bring it back. Morning versus LJ throwing blows. Charlie Ward, Allen Houston, Tim Hardaway. It's going to be all of that all over again. Even the Melo and LeBron time when LeBron was in Miami. Hell of a series that they played. You got the Tom Thibodeau, Jimmy Butler connection in this series. Obviously, Tibbs was Jimmy Butler's coach 2 different times in Chicago and in Minnesota. If there was a coach that knows Jimmy Butler well as Coach Spo, it's Tibbs. Make sure you look out for that. The Knicks took 3 of the 4 head-to-head meetings in this season. All very close battles. Remember the game-winning shot that Julius Randle had back in Miami was a hell of a shot, a hell of a game too. They've had a lot of battles in this particular season and a lot of film that they can look at this particular season that's going to help them with this matchup, right? So in this particular matchup, the Knicks have home court in this series. And if I'm being honest, the Miami crowd actually works against the Heat. The Heat actually play better on the road, so this may be one of those weird type of series where home court advantage doesn't matter as much because the Heat are not rattled in anyone's home floor. The Bucks have one of the best home courts in the league. Very loud, very ruckus home court. The Heat weren't fazed by it at all. They won majority of their games on the road in that series. So if you know how Miami Stadium is, the fans, they don't come there till about the third quarter. So that's probably the reason why they play better on the road, if I'm being honest with you, right? So looking at this series, what I'm looking out for in this particular series, will the Knicks act like they've been here before or just happy to be here? This is their first playoff series win in a decade. The last 2 years ago when they went to the playoffs, they obviously lost their first round matchup against the Atlanta Hawks. They haven't been to the second round in a while. They haven't been to the second round at all with this particular group. So this is uncharted waters for them. This is new ground for them. This is heightened basketball. They shocked the world basically in the first round when a lot of people didn't pick them to win. now is different because now they're not the underdogs in this series. They're actually expected to win. The Miami Heat are the 8th seed in this series. The Miami Heat are the lowest seeded team in this series. The Knicks are actually expected and projected to win. That's a different position and scenario for this team to be in. So we're going to see how they handle that. Who's guarding Jimmy Butler? Who's guarding Jimmy Butler on the Knicks? I got to know who's guarding actually Himmy Butler. Who's guarding Himmy Butler on the Knicks right now? Because Jimmy is him. He's him in the postseason right now. Playoff Jimmy is not to be taken lightly. And I know everyone knows that by now. Jimmy Butler takes about 2 triples a game in the regular season. Playoff Jimmy launches about 6 triples a night in the postseason. He's aggressive. He's ready to go. I said it before, he scored 98 points in his last 2 games in the playoffs to take out the could-be MVP of the league, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who had the best record in the league this year. That's phenomenal. We seen how we do. He said, this is my shit in Miami when they won that game. He is not to be taken lightly, man. So who's going to get that assignment? Is it going to be RJ? Can RJ handle that? Is it going to be Josh Hart? Can he handle that? Grimes? I don't know if he can handle that. It's going to be interesting to see what type of schemes Tibbs puts against Jimmy Butler in this series, because it's not going to be easy. And if Jimmy Butler can replicate the performances that he had against the Bucks in Madison Square Garden against these Knicks, playoff Jimmy will be goated after that. He's going to be goated after that. Playoff performances in MSG get magnified to the highest level. I tell you that for sure. They get magnified to the highest level, especially in Madison Square Garden, in the Mecca, bright lights. This may be a tough task to ask RJ Barrett, but he's going to have to step up. Who else is going to guard him? RJ, I feel like, is the guy who has to guard him in this series. He's big enough. Josh Hart is a little bit smaller. He's about 6'4", 6'5". Jimmy Butler's a strong 6'7", 6'8" right now. He's bully ball. He has big guys guarding him at all times. So those guys on the Knicks may be a little bit small for him. And what I'm thinking, Tibbs may have to switch up and put Julius Randle on Jimmy Butler for a couple of possessions, for a lot of possessions in this series, to handle those blows that Jimmy Butler's going to be given throughout the series. Now, we talk about Julius Randle. What's the status of Julius Randle? He got hurt in the last game against the Cavs. Is he healthy enough to go? Will he be healthy enough to go? Is Grimes healthy enough to go also as well for the Knicks? The Heat are dealing with their own injuries. Obviously, Tyler Hero's loss for the postseason, a major loss for the Miami Heat. He was a leading scorer throughout the year. So the Knicks are playing a wounded team as well. Both teams have a little bit of injury concerns that they have to deal with. But Julius Randle, his status is going to be important for this series. He may have the advantage on the inside if he's actually healthy in this particular series. The Knicks, they need to dominate the paint. Rebounds, paint presence. Mitchell Robinson also as well. He's going to have to play a big role in this series. We're going to see if he can step up to the plate as he did in last series, playing against the Cleveland Cavaliers and supposedly the number 1 defense in the league. Who's going to replace Tyler Hero's production for the Miami Heat? Gabe Vincent played well last series. Duncan Robinson, they dusted off the corpse of Duncan Robinson. He was cashing threes. Strus stepped up. They're going to have to replicate or supplement, I should say, Tyler Hero's production that is going to be missed in this particular series. What I'm also looking at in this series, the tactical adjustments, the coaching in this series. Coach Spo, will he turn the Knicks into an ISO-only team? That would be the advantage Miami Heat, in my opinion. The Knicks have to move the ball, something that they don't do as well or as often, but they will be required to do so in this particular series. This is going to be a heavy dose of back picks, down screens for Duncan Robinson and Max Strus. Those guys are going to be flying all over the perimeter, trying to get open, trying to get those open threes, because the Heat really have to change their offense. They don't really have a lot of ISO one-on-one creators, so they have to run a lot of plays, and hopefully the Knicks are disciplined enough to really stay on their assignments, because that's going to be major for them. We know the Heat is going to be ready every single series. We know the Heat is going to be ready every play. We're going to see how the Knicks adjust and how the Miami Heat adjust from game-to-game adjustments and in-game adjustments. We're going to see about that. Last point that I want to watch out for in this series, Mitchell Robinson, right? I'm thinking about him looking at the series. Will he be pulled away from the basket by Bam? And how often will he be pulled away from the basket, right? If the Heat can eliminate the New York Knicks' best shot blocker and keep him on the perimeter, the Heat will be able to score a lot easier. The Knicks need Mitchell Robinson to be active, to be energized as he was last game. He had 11 offensive rebounds. He's going to need to have the same type of energy, the same type of activity in this series. This is going to be a tough series to call. I really don't know if I could give you a prediction right now, to be honest, because I'm kind of torn in this series because I like both teams. I love what both of them bring to the table. I'm actually rooting for both. I know that sounds crazy, but I don't mind who wins this series, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I can't even give it a pick in this series, but I just think this particular series will go 7. I don't think home court advantage is as important in this particular series, and I think it's going to be a dogfight. I think the healthiest team will win this series. I'll put it that way. The healthiest team will win this series between the Knicks and Heat. And I'm excited to watch. I know New York is rocking. Miami is rocking. This is going to be a great series. 90s style, bring it back. That's what I'm talking about. So family, make sure you're watching out for the Knicks and the Heat series. Make sure you send me your comments, your predictions, all of that. 908-718-1592. Thank you for tuning in with me again. This is another episode, playoff preview, and we out.